I'll make a motion to approve the Playworks contract for Team Up with Fairmont Elementary School from September 14, 2022 to June 15, 2023.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And actually, I'll ask you any comments or your questions first, and then I'll pass it to her.
Yeah, the one we've pulled this before, and I think it was with Golden, and I think we pulled it again. So now I've actually was sent some information about Playworks and some of their statements, and I think that actually their statements and what this program could be about could actually fall under the CRT ban and the controversial issues policy that we have based on what they're saying that they bring into the program. And so I was wondering, even if we just place this on hold and we can disseminate the information and let all the board members take a look at what their statements are, and maybe to get some more guidance from the company on what they're actually bringing into the school, because there's a lot of issues that have come up with their statement and what they say that their program actually brings to the school and the students. I think that would ban our controversial issues and the CRT ban.
Are you referring to their equity statement on their website?
Yes, their equity statement, and then also too, when you read into it, it says, kids play, and then that's kind of been the issue that a lot of the community has had, is kids always have known how to play, but now we have people who are. And from what we're reading about this program is, like one of the examples is you have a kid who might be very good in soccer out there on the playground, and this kid's the team captain. And so someone now comes in, an adult comes in and says, you know what, this guy's not the team captain. We're going to make this person the team captain because of equity or whatever these things involve. And so they're changed the dynamics of the playground. And so I would think if we hold off on this item, maybe just take a look at this this program that we're in, because this is kind of the kids' freedom to be unsupervised at lunchtime when they're playing. Not unsupervised, I'm sorry. Wait, not unsupervised, but it's their freedom to play on the playground without people redirecting their activities and their play. And I really do believe that from what we're reading on their statement that, do we want to support something that makes statements like this? So that's why I pulled it.
If I may, I think the beauty about Playworks and what they're able to bring onto the campus of schools who've actually worked with them, and we've had several schools who have actually had them come on and actually train. The great thing about them is they come on and they do it's a trainer of trainers model. So they train the staff and they train the students to be leaders within their own right, to really help resolve conflict and lead some of the younger students on the playground. But I think the beauty about what it is it's not necessarily they will bring in organized and structured activities onto the playground, but there is still that ability for students who don't want to participate in those particular games to still do what, if they have a different option, and if a student wants to sit at a table and read a book, for example, they're able to do that. From what we have heard directly from our principals and our staff at each of the school sites who have used Playworks and other companies who offer something similar, that the decrease in discipline referrals has been significant. The ability for students to be able to resolve their own conflict, really what it teaches is conflict resolution. And so while we do have supervisors who are out on the playground, there's a high element of safety as a result of that. I think there's an element of resilience, that the students learn because of that ability to be able to, not have to constantly be going to an adult on the playground to resolve. If they're having a conflict, they're, arguing over whose chance it is, turn it is with a ball, for example. I think what we want to remember as well with Playworks, they're not there constantly. They come out, they're not unsupervised, they are working alongside our staff to help set up the activities. Literally when they are out there, the staff come in ahead of time prior to recess time. They will be there to set the activities up, and then help guide the staff initially in the beginning on how to train and teach the students how to do each one of those games. And the idea with it is that they're there for a few days and then they step back, and they'll return there maybe for the following month to check in with the staff to see how things are going and maybe provide additional feedback and support. I think the results of that speak for itself, just in what we're seeing at those schools who've utilized their services and their programs. That's a big part of our PBIS program as well, that whole, concept of, teaching positive interactions with our students and expectations of, what those activities are that they should be doing. So, that's ultimately the benefit, and that's why we're hearing from our school sites, from our principals, to be able to want to partner, with Playworks. I don't know if any of you have actually had a chance to go out to see them in action. Any of you of the trustees? Okay. I do, I would encourage that as well, to actually come out and, I'd be happy to accompany you. I know any of our principals would, love to be able to showcase, what they're doing and the success and the effects, of the program on their students as well, if you were open to that.
Of course, I'm open. I'm just wondering why it is necessary to talk about the things that they do and say that with their program, they talk about systemic racism, they talk about all this stuff, and they said this is what we bring to our program, and so this is what we're bringing onto our campus. And so, in my opinion, that what we just pushed through,
and I understand, some of the concerns you might have with that statement on there. I referred to their front page of what they do. I know the equity statement is something different, and I know if you look at companies, across our nation today, they are being encouraged to go back and revamp and revise their statements. But the things that I point to, on their front page is they talk about play being a basic human need. The kids who play are resilient, empathetic, and active. It helps them, this program, their purpose is to help students, help them solve problems, make friends, believe in themselves, even in hard times. And I think that's where the resilience comes from. And it's unfortunate that, again, that, something that they've put into that statement is being, drawn upon and looked at, that's what they're coming out to, to teach the students. That's really not it. It truly is about active play and, helping students build those necessary skills to connect with one another and be active out on the playground.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have not heard it mentioned that this involves talking out there with students about racism, and I'm a little lost as to how maybe this is even a concern.
From what I understand, they have an equity statement on their website that talks about what they believe in. I know this. I wasn't here when this was passed last year, but I understand it was something that was discussed heavily by the board, and some were nervous about it. And I'm sure there was an amount of scrutiny with the program, and if there had been those kind of statements being made, we all would have heard about it, I think. And so what they provide to us is teaching children how to play. What they believe in their equity statement is something that is kind of behind all of that, but not necessarily coming out at all in the delivery of curriculum. And so that's my take on it.
And if I may add, I remember being on Golden's campus at the beginning of last year, and that, I think, did precede the item coming forward that we had on Playworks then, later, weeks or whatever later. And I do remember talking to the principal, Kristen McDonald, who I was looking to see if she was still here, but she's gone. And I was there, and she had me go out onto the playground, and it was recess. And we were talking about, at that time, she was describing how, as particularly the younger students, when they come back, not come back, they're new. They may not understand rules and behaviors as to how to interact with each other, and just safety rules out on the playground, etc. And I just remember that she was making a point that she was looking forward to having the Playworks, because this would be, hopefully, and it was best, that this would be a support to making the time on the playground not structured in the way that they can't play of their own volition, but just to, I think, give them opportunities to better learn how to interact, especially if either they've been gone away from school because of COVID, or they were in the youngest grades and they just hadn't had some of those experiences yet. So I hadn't heard anything, and that's why I was asking. Thank you.
I haven't heard anything about specific negative things, but I, being a parent that was out on the playground a lot and helping out. You see kids that wander off and don't have people to play with, and that structured play gives them a space, and it includes them, and it brings them in to play with other people and develop those relationships that they may be struggling with. So if we would have heard stuff throughout the year and that had caused me concern, I would be more concerned about it. But I think the discipline and that being able to reduce and we have our resolution and our policy in place and a system of what that looks like if someone were to violate it and the process. So I'm comfortable because it's been in our district for a while. We've been watching it. We know what's happening, and we're seeing positive results.
Yeah, I've only heard really positive results from our principals that have implemented this program in their schools and how much it's helped them. I have a question. Is this something that we can share with Playworks, our resolution, so that they know what our stand is on critical race theory and that it should not be implemented into their program?
Absolutely.
In any way?
Yep.
I think we do, business with different schools and things like that teach critical race theory, and we have let them know that this is not part of our district culture. And I think if we front load them and let them know, we've read your equity statement, we see that you're talking about systemic racism, and that this is, that's fine for you to believe, but that is not appropriate in our schools or with our students, especially our elementary students. And it reminds me a lot of my own house rule. I don't drink, nor my husband, and so we kind of have a non-alcohol rule at our home. And our friends know that. They respect that. And when they come to our house, they don't bring alcohol or like, I brought some wine. They understand that, and they respect our home rules. And it's not, I don't, disparage them for drinking in their own home or going out. And we go, with them to dinner and they drink, but they respect my home rules. And I think as long as the companies that we're doing business with understand what our stance is and that they respect our rules, then it's okay. And I have a really hard time seeing on the elementary playground with chalk them, describing systemic racism. I can't really see that happening in our elementary schools. So I'm okay with this program moving forward as long as we front load the company and just state that these are our district's policies and our rules, and we respect for what you're teaching, because they teach some really great things. Their 6 rules of play are awesome. The one I really like, which I think I've heard a lot of complaints from parents, is they say play is not treated as a reward to be revoked, and that, a lot of parents have complained that their kids have lost recess and things like that, and they shouldn't be losing that. It should not be a reward to go to recess. This is just part of their learning experience. And so I think, some of these key elements that they do teach and expand on are really important.
I appreciate that, and we can absolutely and will follow up, with them to share that resolution. I love that analogy you used. It makes me think of the one you used earlier on, Trustee Blades, about it being a job interview. I think there's that component of absolutely. I think anyone we allow and invite onto our campus, there's an expectation that yes, we have our expectations and rules in place, that there's that understanding that that will be followed. So we will absolutely follow through with that.
Okay. All right, so with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
No.
So 1 no and 3 yes, that motion carries.